All right, let's get started in here. I've just got a couple things. Let's see. Okay, boom, 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 boom. All right. Good morning. Oh man, been a while. It has been a while. So here we have our lovely Katrina character, which I still need to go through and figure out what to do for the calavera for her face, the skull for her face. I currently have most everything worked out for her body, her flowers. Wow, for some reason it's going a little bit chuggy right now. Um, yeah, so far so good. It's super fun. The thing that I want to work on today and focus on is that hair. I want to go through and kind of show my process for hair. Dodrugu. Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, she's so much fun. Um, Still a long way to go. You can see I've got my rice pudding in there. I don't know whether to leave the rice pudding or to put a skull in, leave the skull in, but we'll keep something in there. I for right now am going to turn off the flowers. They are part of what's like a huge part of what is slowing down the system, and that way we can kind of show off a little bit of what's going on with the dress too. Oh yeah, big thing from Nightbot there. Cool announcement. Okay, from now through December 28th, there is a 10% off discount for anybody who would like to get a perpetual license of ZBrush. Awesome. I love ZBrush. It's been an awesome tool for me. Um, but it could be ZBrush, ZBrush Core, or moving up from ZBrush Core to ZBrush. So yeah, 10% off. That's a nice thing. Uh, Definitely take advantage of the discounts when they happen. I think that's a great opportunity. So hey Leonard, good morning. How are you doing? Let me see. Okay, so what I want to do, I've got my hair block in here. I want to take that hair, and I want to make that nice, flowy, smartest hair. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull out my smartest hairbrush. Okay. And with this hair, there are a couple different ways that we can go about this. Um, I can either go through and I can just start using this as a base to kind of stroke hair out onto, which is fine. That works. Okay. In fact, let me see. The body right now is up. Do I have that divided or is it just? Nope, it's not divided. It's just the decimated one. That's the. It's so what I did with this is I essentially have her with UVs and everything, like just crap UVs, super terrible UVs. But it's just something so that it works to be able to take it over into Maya for render. The thing that had happened is that there were some really crazy, weird things that happened with the topology. At one point, a bunch of these verts that were really close together just snap welded together, and so I lost a ton of my awesome topology, a ton of my production ready topology, and so at one point I just went ahead and snapped it and just kind of kept it nice and simple and put it all together as a decimated mesh, and so now the decimated mesh is what has UVs, and that's put over into Zebra into Maya for rendering. Um, yeah, kind of a pain, but whatever. Let's play with this hair. So I have a couple different ways that I can go about getting hair. I can get um, I can get either like a lower polygon mesh that has just like long flows of topology, just straight topology, to make that so that I can use that straight topology to create curves to be able to base my strokes off of. in a very procedural, automatic sort of way, or I can just kind of take this and just start with what I've got, which I think is probably more like what I'll do. Okay, so you see I've got it very roughly blocked in. You can see here's like the part of the hair. Here's some hair that's kind of coming back and kind of going behind her ear. Here's the hair from her bangs. The front hair anyway that we can see. Oh, good, Leonard. I'm glad you're doing well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Been enjoying the new gig over at Netflix and having a good time there. Jin Lonex. I watched one of your videos regarding hard surface techniques. Very helpful. Good at technical side as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have a ton of fun. I have a ton of fun. And my background is in production for animation. So that's kind of where I like to live. Right now I'm trying to go through and kind of push some of these shapes together with these curves. These curve brushes, this one in particular is one that I made just because the ones that are out there, they aren't quite what I wanted, so I decided to make my own, and this has been tremendous for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let me see, I mean, so far this is all right. This needs to definitely be taken, and we'll take the move brush and just kind of pull these points so that they go. With hair, you always want to think about insertion points. You want to think about, well, insertion points meaning the origin, the root, where it comes from, and then you want to think about where it's flowing to. Had to retire, huh? Well, hopefully hopefully retirement suits you, dude. You're super talented, man. It's just to be clear though, this is the Leonard from Disney, right? The my buddy from the model shop. The one that is like super amazing sculptor Leonard. Just want to make sure that I know which Leonard I'm talking to. Because I can't remember your last name, bud. But yeah. Let's go ahead and turn off that dynamic. Currently this is like coming out too far. It's creating too much of a rise. So I'm just trying to make sure that this fits my shapes as nicely as I can. But yeah, so you want to think about with hair, you want to think about origin point or the root, where it comes from, and you want to think about where it's going to, where it's flowing, and the things that affect that. So you get a little bit of storytelling with hair. You think about like if it's windy or if it's raining or if the character's moving a lot, or whatever's going on. You put those things together and kind of tell the story through the flow of the hair, the force, the energy. Yee, that's right. Let's see, I don't want to turn that off per se. You know what? Let's do this. Now that I've got this this hair strand kind of drawn out, and then I'll go ahead and I'll say split unmasked points, just so that we have. But I don't really necessarily want to have it split, because then it's like, whatever. Control Shift D. That way we'll just have a hair without the color on it. Merge it down, and now we have hair We don't have to worry about the dark color really standing out too much. That'll be better. Okay. But yeah, Leonard, do you have any plans? Like what's next for you? Do you have things hobbies you'll dig into? Do you have like side gigs you're gonna dig into more? Um, why is it when I'm using that hair curve brush, the root is pointing in awkward position? The root is pointing up and part is flowing naturally. It's just because it's just because it's something that it's always going to be pointing kind of in the direction of the original drop point for the curve. And so what you're going to want to do is with that curve, you're always just going to want to take it and just manually point it in the direction that you want it to go. It's just kind of part of the process. Um, there is an option if you wanted to be able to have the hairbrush kind of go through and have kind of a curve down at the beginning, wherever that drop point is. You could go through and say, you could make the end, like the beginning piece, like have a bit of a curve down. Um, the hard thing about doing something like that is that then you're always stuck with that beginning shape, which, yeah, I mean, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, right? It's one of those things that you got to kind of measure your, um, or determine more or less kind of what it is that you feel like your, um, what your style is going to be, because that's one of the hard things, is that if you do something like that, then you're already kind of predetermining some of your style, and that can be kind of a tricky thing to fight against. um I mean, a big part of my style is the hairbrush, so it's one of those things that, I've already kind of built the hairbrush as a way of being able to support my style, as it is. So that's kind of it's always kind of a plus thing. Um, However, yeah, I think that's kind of one of the main things that I try to think about is kind of what can I do to automate my process, or to make my process flow more streamlined, more simple. And then what is it about that new process, or what is it that I've done or can do to make it, that's going to kind of make my process more difficult. And so I try to find that happy little spot kind of in between where it makes things nicer, right? Um, as opposed to, um, not, I guess. Hey, Bubba. Oops. Yeah, so that's kind of what that's my bit on the hairbrush, and why it always kind of points off in that direction. It's just because of how the tool is. Um, it's just a general thing of curved brushes. So it's not necessarily just this brush. It's gonna be every brush. There are also points of like sampling, and um, having number of curve points that it drops and things like that. But yeah, let me see. Can you share more about the hiring process at Netflix? I can't really. I don't really know a whole lot about it. There are there is a referral process, like an employee referral process. There's an internal process, which is like the internal process is always the one that they try to draw on first, because they like to try to retain people. They like to try to keep the people that they like to work with, especially since having people already in the system, it makes their jobs a little easier. But it also makes it so that, you know, people who are already used to working together can continue working together, and it's just pretty nice that way. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the biggest. You know, let's kind of take this, and I'm just going to use some inflate brush and see what we get here. But yeah, so far as the rest of the process, it's just kind of what you would expect from anywhere. It's like a apply, and wait and hope and dream and all the stuff that you would do with any other place. Um, let's go ahead and smooth that down a little bit. These points right now are very even, and the whole thing, like this whole strand that we drew out just now, it's 3 chunks. You can see, like, by the tip here, you know, 3 little pieces. Those 3 chunks are all very uniform, well, not uniform in like shape, but uniform in flow. So we're going to be able to take these and kind of split them apart and kind of move them slightly apart from each other, make it a little bit more varied. So that's nice. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things we definitely want to play around with. Yeah, this isn't doing quite what I want. Just kind of smooth it down. Okay, that's better. Okay, so if we look at this strand by itself, this is what it's doing. It's a very oh shoot, don't do that, please. There we go. Yeah, like I said, right here we're getting a very even end right here. So this is something we're gonna want to change and vary up a little bit. Okay, try to give it like a little bit of a taper. You know, you can see the ends are kind of coming to different points now. That'll be a little bit better. And there might be maybe an opportunity too to come through here with like the slice brush, slice curve right there, and just boom, boom, bop, bada bop, and that way we have, you know, some extra topology there that we can play with. Okay, super nice. Let me see. Is the software browser based or installed? Definitely installed. Yeah, this is ZBrush. If you're not familiar with it, phenomenal tool. This is one of the industry leaders in digital sculpting. Well, it is the industry leader in digital sculpting. Who am I kidding? You know, very, very awesome, powerful tool. I've been using this for almost 10 years now, and it's been awesome. It's been my go-to hobby tool. It's been my go-to for everything, for work, for yeah, just everything. It's just awesome. When I worked at Disney at Imagineering, it was my favorite tool to use for all of my sculpting needs, for the rides, for figures, for all sorts of things. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was so awesome to. It's always a great thing just to be able to spend some time in ZBrush during the day. At my current job, I use mostly Maya, which is, you know, it's nice, but I have such a special place in my heart for ZBrush. It's so fun. It's a phenomenal tool. It really just enables so much from an artist standpoint. They work really hard to make sure that ZBrush is like that they put the technical side of it so well incorporated in an artistic way that the artist doesn't have to worry about the technical side. They can just worry about being artists, you know. And there are some technical things that you can do, some technical things that you can work with, but generally speaking, they've done a very awesome job of, you know, making those things optional rather than, you know, absolutely necessary. I know that with some software you have to be extremely good at doing the technical stuff in order to get the artistic stuff to work at all. But yeah, whatever. ZBrush is awesome like that. Okay, so there's our first little strand there. Okay, so it is a bit of a process, but it works, and it works really, really well. So let me see. Emmanuel, hello, I need a favor. Can you make a bottle crown cap like that of Coke or Pepsi with ZModeler? I can. Yeah, let's do it. It's something I can do really quick. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hit this. This is going to be super simple. I'm going to start off with a Q cylinder with the Y direction. But let's see, we're going to say, yeah, we'll leave it the resolution that it has right now. So let's go ahead and say initialize to that. I'm just going to, oops, hold on, wrong tool there. Okay, so here's essentially what we're going to start off with. Okay, so we got this. I'm going to grab that that green poly group right there. Let's go ahead and turn on that ZModeler again, or I mean the gizmo. We'll just shrink this in here. I don't know how many sides it has, but this will be kind of a general idea, and you can use any kind of cylinder for it. Let's kind of give it a little bit of a taper because they seem to have a little bit of a taper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Control D, Control D. Maybe one more. Control D. And then what I want to do, I'll say delete lower for now, just so we can see it more easily what we're doing. Okay, and we'll say, yeah, let's do this. Control W, just so we can have kind of something that we can rely on here. We'll go ahead and Control A, and then what we want to do is we have 4 sides, so we're gonna want to take this and kind of times it by 4. But we have 1, 2, 3. Let's see. It's got the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 times 4 is 56, right? Yeah, 56. So let's go ahead and we'll say half of 56 is 28. Okay, so we're going to say transform. We're going to come in here. We're going to activate the radial symmetry. So it'll go up to 28. And so you see right here we've got this. Let's see. I must have done something wrong. I must have did something wrong. Yeah, let's see something right here. See, we don't even need to dig into ZModeler with this, I don't think. But let's see. Let's make sure this is in the center. It looks like it's not completely in the center, so maybe that's our problem. Yeah, no, something's off. Did I do my math wrong? Did I do my math wrong? Let me see. Let's say deformation, polished by groups. I don't think we need to. We definitely need that though. Let's say geometry, we'll say reconstruct subdivisions. Okay, right now we have 8. 16, 32, 64. That's right. That's why 64. I was like doing my math way wrong. 64. Good grief. 64 divided by 2 is 32. Okay, so that's why. That's why. I feel like I'm not the smartest right now. Oh, turn off my numlock. Go back to that bottle cap here. Go back to transform. 32. Now we're good. Now we're lining up. Okay, so now we got our mask lasso, and we can go around and we can mask everything out like that. And we'll just kind of shrink everything in. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's come over here. Oh, we could do it from the top. That'll be a little bit nicer. We just take it and just kind of hold Alt and kind of bend it in. And there we go. Let's kind of take this. Oh, come on, Alt. Oh, it doesn't want to work. Why doesn't it want to work? Hold Alt. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why that got all messed up like that, but there we go. Let's just take it back to here. Kind of pull it out and play with these points a little bit more, just to be able to kind of tailor it and make it the shape that we want, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever reference you have is probably better than better than trying to do it from memory. So there's like a little bottle cap. And then, you know, since it doesn't have thickness right now, what we could do is say delete lower. Since there are too many rings around there, too many edge loops, I'll just go ahead and get rid of a couple. So we don't need all these edge loops. Non-symmetrical. I object. Let's turn off the symmetry then. Good grief, I have no idea what the kids are watching, but they're like, the show or whatever they're watching is screaming. Is like, my goodness, whatever's happening to their poor characters. Alright, something like that. Okay, so now to be able to add some thickness to it, we can go dynamic subdivisions. We can just turn on dynamic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the smooth and add some thickness. Okay, that's obviously way too much. But you know, you go through and you kind of add to your liking, and once that's good, you can say apply. And then you can go ahead and say turn on dynamic again, get rid of the thickness, and we can add in smooth subdivisions and things like that, you know, and get your get your look however you need it. Yeah, go through and do things like that. Probably go ahead and say crease. Say crease PG for that bit right there, so that way we can turn on our dynamic subdivisions and maybe like boost it up a little bit here. Probably need to have a little bit more of a difference between these points, you know. So maybe we take these and pull them in, take these, pull them out. I don't know. You go ahead and you can kind of be the judge of how you need that to roll for your piece. But yeah, there you go. Little bottle cap. Kind of a little bit of a departure from just kind of shape it. I don't know, whatever. It probably needs to be taller and stuff like that too. I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, anyway, fairly simple. Yeah, not something that needs to be, you know, super complicated. But yeah, let's go ahead and delete that now, because I don't need it. But what I do need to do is save, because I haven't done that yet today. It's definitely necessary, and I also need to drink some water. Alright, so now we've got this going on. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off symmetry, because I don't need symmetry right now. Let's start off and put in some more strand. I've got like this, it's like it feels so super bright in here. It's been cloudy and rainy the last few days, so I'm not used to it being bright and sunny anymore, which is funny. Okay, so we've got this kind of going in here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to have it run down onto the back side. Something like that. One of the things that you'll notice is that I'm not having this hair go all the way down to the end. Naturally, if you think about hair, the hair on, well, first off, you think about bangs. Bangs are going to be shorter. But typically, like, the hair on top is not going to reach down typically as long as the hair that's on the bottom of the head. A lot of that comes from positioning on the head, but also typical hairstyles. You know, you think about layering. You know, women's hair or long hair will often have, because I can't necessarily just say women's hair, because some men have long hair too. Anyway, so long hair will often have layers. So you'll have hair on top that goes down not as far as the hair on the bottom. So it creates this nice full sort of look at the bottom. So that's kind of part of what we're going to be looking for. But then also just the way that this kind of overlaps and the way that the forms overlap. This hair right here will be coming from behind her ear. So that's just something to kind of think about, what it is that you're wanting to do. I might actually take this out another click so that it's got a little bit more to play with. And now let's go ahead and start to push and pull. I will probably go through this process a little bit as I'm working on her. Oops, sorry. A bit of back and forth. It's good to see too how it interfaces with the head. This is definitely important. So I'm gonna make sure this plays more with the head rather than with the forms of the hair that I had already sculpted. And you can see also there are, I'm going to have to rethink this bit here. Let's actually take this hair up here. Take this up. Have this flow from up top. Because the thing that's happening, and the thing I feel like I need to have happen, is that I need to have, I feel like I need to have hair that's kind of coming more kind of from this side of the face, kind of from here to flow out there, and I feel like it's coming from up here too far. So I need to have hair coming from here, going into the side of the head, which I didn't think about when I laid this piece down. But I can still use this and just have it flow out like I have it. Okay, beginner, welcome. We'd like to start ZBrush. Would you recommend buying ZBrush Core or ZBrush Full? Currently on Nomad Sculpt, but I like to complete with ZBrush 2. Yeah, that's nice. Right now there's that discount going on, right? So you could go ahead and get ZBrush or ZBrush Core with the 10% off discount. I haven't ever used ZBrush Core. I've used ZBrush. Well, maybe I have used ZBrush Core, because there was the challenge at the ZBrush Summit one year that I did. I'm pretty sure we used ZBrush Core. But yeah, I've used ZBrush, and I've used ZBrush Core Mini. ZBrush Core Mini is the free version of ZBrush. Very light, but it's enough to be able to really kind of get your feet wet and try it out. I would think about kind of what it is that you want to be able to use ZBrush for. So like if you want to be able to use ZBrush for professional and personal projects alike, then I would buy it. Just get the full version. But if you're not entirely sure about it yet, go ahead and I would say get the ZBrush Core. That way it's something that you can go ahead and it's a little bit less committal, but it's something that you still get a ton of sculpting power, and you still get a ton of that experience, the ZBrush experience. So I'd say feel free to kind of try that out. Yeah. Leonard doing ornaments right now. Awesome. Freelance if it's right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Man. What kind of freelance projects do you take, Leonard? Do you get would you be taking things that are kind of more theme park related, or would you be taking things that are, I guess just anything toys, merchandising sort of stuff, or yeah, I'd be interested to kind of hear what. Maybe we meet up for lunch sometime and tell me about it or something. Alright, so we've got some of that going on there. Right now, I kind of want to smooth that. I'm just so one of the things that's kind of nice is that there are these points where these peaks are going to be really, really high, and there's going to be a lot of definition. I don't know that I want it right there per se, but you can have like more definition, more high points, more variation. So like right here, we'll probably keep it about how it is, Okay, so you get these high points, but then we smooth it out in places like right here where I want it to lay flatter against the head, and that should give you a good little bit of variation of shucks of I'll say topological geography, topological interest. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can get this these bangs to look, or not these bangs, these the side hair stuff to look the way that we want it to. Oh, pardon me. Okay, so remember I was talking about like having it start right here, kind of bringing it out. So we've got that going on. And I'm trying to think, let's have this kind of come down closer behind the ear. One thing that's going to very heavily affect how this brush looks is your Z intensity. With any curve brush, that Z intensity is going to make it, you know, how thick it stands off of that surface. So you can see right now I'm getting that good full shape coming off. But if I were to come in over here and change my Z intensity to something a lot lower, you can see that flattens it out a lot, which is really, really cool depending on what you want. And then if you wanted to be able to get more segments along the curve, you can come up here to stroke, down to curve, and these curve steps. Right now it's set to 1. I could set it up to, you know, like, let's say 2. You see oops. Actually, let's bring it down to lower. 2 is going to spread them out more. So it's, instead of having an edge at every point, it's going to have an edge every 2 points, sort of thing. So if we do like something like 0.5, it's going to double it. Yeah, you see that it made it half the length, so you know, half the intervals. But yeah, I want to keep it at 1 right now. And then I also want to keep my Z intensity up. Okay, so we've got this going on. One of the things that I'm getting into lately is VR. I'm trying to learn how to do VR, and I'll be digging into Medium a bit this over the Christmas break. So I'm super excited about that. It's a little bit tricky, but I'm working on it. How about you guys? Have you guys ever tried oops, that one got a little bit messy. I do want it to come down here. Okay. So you can see, like, hair's it's a process. Whoops, I don't want to commit it yet. Let's go ahead and do something like this. Not that far out, not that far in. Come on. There we go, something like that. And then we'll just play with the move brush some to get it to be. Let's use the inflate brush too. Alright, so now what we want to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to manipulate that end so that it feels more like it's given her the roots of the hair that are coming from here. And we're good. Oh, a little part behind the ear too. Let's kind of take that and shove it up and in. Let's eliminate this, since this will eventually be gone anyway. You'll see, like, we've got all these different little pieces here, right? Let me show you essentially what's happening with this. We've got this extra little strand here. Okay, something separate, something extra. It's so cool. It's so much fun, and I'm so happy about how well this brush has been treating me. So yeah, we've got this going on here. which, if you are interested at all in this hairbrush, let me show you where you can get it. Let me show you where you can get it. You can feel free either to jump on Patreon. I'm pretty sure I have it available for Patreon patrons, but I also have it at ArtStation. Oh, it's making me sign in. Don't look at my password. Holiday sale, shop up to 70% off. Yeah, it's fun. There are always like these cool sales going on. So let's see kind of what the sales are like here. Yeah, it looks like we got like 20% off on a bunch of things. It looks like my courses are all half off. Tools, the brushes are all half off. So yeah, come over here. We've got things like hair curls. We got the hairbrush. Okay, so if you're interested in something like that, you can check it out. Yeah, sale stuff going on. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's go ahead and feel free to check that out if you're at all interested. It's kind of funny to see her with just those pieces. It's really not that great by itself. I'm gonna take some of this and vary it up a little bit. Oops, not that piece, not that piece. This piece right here. Yeah, it's just really helps me to get some better shapes and to get some better flow, and it's just so much fun. Yeah, this is one of those processes that it takes a while. It's a little bit it can be a little bit tedious, but it's super rewarding. Definitely turns out some really cool results if you're patient with it. Okay, let's grab that hairbrush again. I want to kind of turn on my size memory and my draw dynamic size memory. That way I get a little bit more of a so for instance, when I switch over to ZModeler, which needs dynamic mode to be on, I don't have to worry about my brush sizes jumping, from really big to really little. It's like it's going to be more commensurate with the brush that I'm using. So I didn't want to end that yet. Let's take this. And we'll pull it off over here, something like that. It's like it's got a lot of influence there, and I don't want it to have quite as much influence, so I just gotta like make it smaller, I guess. But yeah, so far so good. Let's pull out that Moo brush. I want it to kind of feel like it's touching that surface. I don't want it to feel like it's super what's it called, embedded. It's like I want it to feel like, here, let's go ahead and kind of smooth this out so that it feels a little bit flatter against the head right here. Oops. And then we'll have to pull out the character and make sure that this is working. After all, I mean, this is the most important part, is making sure that the hair is working for the character. So Let's go ahead and take this, maybe pull it in behind, or we could pull it in front of. Let's pull it in front of. Yeah. And one of the things that's really kind of cool and that I'll try to push a little bit more later on is the way that the hair overlaps. So we'll have like these different hair clumps kind of going in front of or behind, and the way that it overlaps makes the hair feel very organic. It makes it feel very artistic. And so as we go along, as we get more pieces in there, we'll start to get a little bit better of an overlap, and we'll start to get a better feel for what this hair should be like. Eventually, the hope is to take these hair chunks over into Maya and use them to generate curves, which will then become hair guides for XGen. So I like to go through and have like nice chunk hair done in ZBrush, because then it's something that I can 3D print. It's something that I can do all sorts of stuff with. But that's the main idea. Yeah, let's go ahead and Control W with that, so that we've got this. Oops. So we've got this piece that we can just play with, and let's make sure that this is. I might need to add in an extra slice to this too. Let's go ahead. Let's isolate it so that we can. So we can take a slice at it. Oops. Slice curve. Let's go ahead and re-polygroup that so that it stays the same. Actually, let's bring bring this back so we can see kind of how this is interacting with the head. I think with this bottom strand, we're going to want to make sure that this is popping out now. So let's grab it and pull it out some. And it might not come out as far on all these little, on like the full length of the strand. It might go through and kind of stick out more in some places and less in others. Here, let's kind of smooth this down just a little bit so that it's got a little bit different of a shape. Let's kind of pop that up a little bit again. Control 1. And you see this is penetrating the forehead, so we're going to bring this out. Gotta bring this out. And we got to fix some shape issues here, because I want this to feel nice and smooth. I don't want it to feel like it's out of control. I want it to feel like it's very controlled, to make it feel smooth and elegant and beautiful. So it just takes going through, and this is why I like keeping my curve brushes at a very low resolution with that with that curve step. I don't have it active right now because I'm on a brush that doesn't use curve information, but super important. Oh, I don't want that. Let's go ahead and kind of make this its own thing. And I'm going to turn my smoothing intensity down pretty low. This is a trick that one of my mentors taught me, Zach Petrock, from Disney. He's awesome. He's awesome. But that's one of the tricks that he taught me, is just taking that smooth intensity down really low, and that helps so that you don't have to worry about it over smoothing. So now we're getting some more of that going on. I'm trying to decide if I like the way that hair's flowing just very straight over to the side there, or if I want to have it so that it's like the hair's kind of like curling up and over. I think I want to do that. So let's, instead of having this be right here like this, let's take this and kind of make it so that it's coming up. So it's kind of like overlapping with, which means I'm also going to probably want to take this and reposition where it's coming from. Make it curl, kind of something like that. Come over here, nice big move brush, and just kind of start positioning this. I might need to turn off that arroz con leche. It's a little bit in the way. Little arroz con leche, little rice pudding right there. Let me see, since this is lapping up and over, I think I'm going to take that whole strand and just move it up. Just make this part of the top layer now instead of being, oops, instead of being, you know, like bangs, or I don't know, like just the way that it needs to overlap to make it feel like it's part of the solid rather than being, or I guess more so not so much that it's being part of the solid, but so that it's being its own thing. Yeah, lots to kind of play around with. But yeah, anytime anybody has any questions, you know, feel free to chat. Feel free to drop them off. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll just keep plugging and keep having fun, which is fine, I guess. Let me see, what do we have down here? Okay. So I'm going to want to take that bottom piece that goes into this curl, and I might have it I might have it go off a different, over the back side of this lump here instead. Let's do that. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that, and we'll pull it up. I just want to make sure that I can see it first so that I can understand where it is that I want to put it. And it looks like it might have too much mask on there or something. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of pull this up. It's a little bit thick, so I'm just going to smooth it out some. And let's just give it a little bit of a twist. Let's have it kind of twist around down here. And boom, getting pretty close in there. Yeah, something like that feels pretty cool. And that way it's kind of helping to support the shape, the form of this hair kind of as it curves down there. But then it's also giving a little bit of a wrap, which is something that's very interesting with hair forms. So let's keep that. Okay, currently that's all unmasked. Now, one of the other things that I have, oops, I don't want to hide that. One of the other things that I have with this hairbrush is that I have like I have like single strand pieces that I can use. My favorite ones to use are this one right here, this single strand complex. I don't remember what it's called for sure, but yeah, it's I mean, in fact, I should probably go through and simplify the names. It's kind of like do SS for single strand, and then DS or TS for triple strand. I don't know, like, a little bit that. But then I've also got this like super thin, delicate little piece that I can use for just like little flyaways. You make it thicker if you want to, but it's simple, and it's nice. It's easy to use. It's behaving differently though. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna have to explore and experiment and figure out what's going on. I'm not used to it being like moving the root. I'm not used to that moving the entire piece. I didn't design it like that, and it wasn't working like that in the last version. Ugh. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of pull this out. I'm just trying to get like a little bit of overlap with the hair. Okay, kind of smooth that out a little bit. I'm just like essentially grabbing and pulling it. Just grabbing and pulling, and that kind of eases it out a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. A little bit less there. And then all of this just need to slowly go down and boom, 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 you know? Just bit by bit. Here a little and there a little. Just kind of take it down from the end too. So that way it just speeds up the process a little bit more. Looks like I took it down a little bit too much. There we go. There we go. And yeah, we'll see what we do with the end of it there. But yeah, I'm trying to keep the hair shapes as much as I can, like super close to this original chunk that I have. Because I want to make sure, because that chunk was sculpted in a way that gets me the shapes that I wanted from the very beginning. So it's important for me to try to maintain that. Now there will be opportunities where I go through, and as I get more actual chunks in there, more hair strands, more hair chunks, I'll learn more about what the hair is actually doing there, and I'll probably change things as I go. But yeah, it's really, I try to use it as a guide to get it close to where I liked it before, and then I'll see things and I'll learn things about the design as I explore more, as I expose more as I'm going along. It looks like, do we have all three channels open right now? It looks like we've had some activity from Twitch. We've had some activity from YouTube. And it says that Facebook is connected, and there are a few people there. It's one of those things that we've had a few issues with a few streamers lately, where we've had the stream reach different platforms and not others. So it just kind of out of curiosity, is it reaching you guys on Facebook? And also did my message, my link for my ArtStation store, did that reach YouTube? It's saying that it didn't on my end. Not that it's super important. I mean, you guys don't need it, but It's not an absolute need to have, but if you're interested in it. YouTube's running. Awesome. Thank you, Stolo. Let's go ahead and grab this. No link. Ah, bummer. Let me see if I can figure out. Maybe it'll send just to YouTube. Yeah, it looks like that worked. Do you always work with a generic UI? Yes, I do. Or do you have a custom pop-up? Yeah, I definitely work with my with just a standard UI. I mean, the thing I like to do is I like to set up hotkeys. Hotkeys are insanely helpful to me. But yeah, so far as like a UI, I like to keep it very simple and very basic because I do things like this where I'm streaming or I teach classes, and I like for other people to be able to very quickly and easily understand where it is that I'm going or understand where I'm finding tools. They don't have to worry about like he put delete all where he put what so it's like instead of trying to enjoy the process or trying to enjoy the workflow, there's so much trying to figure out the UI that I feel like I lose people more if I have a custom UI. But a lot of people have nice UIs and people seem to enjoy that. But your stylus front button and back buttons are set to what? So I have them set to the right click and to the middle click. Here, I'll set the forward button. The forward button is my right click because that was the one I used the most, and then the middle click is this back button. That way, whenever I'm working in like Maya or Photoshop or other things like that, I have that available to me. So I have my right click since that's the one I use for ZBrush. It's super helpful. Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah. I love doing it like that just because it's simple. It makes for a really nice oh, you know what, let me see, there's another thing that I want to try to do. Let's say samples. Where is it that there's a project modifiers, projection strength. I want to see if this works. It doesn't look like it wants to work. Is it going to work? It looks like it's doing something. It's not doing what I want it to do, so never mind. I'm not going to worry about that. Let me see. Any tips on how to make sharp corners on organic surfaces? So if you're wanting to sculpt it, here's something that you could do. Let's say Control Shift D. I'm going to say initialize Q-cube. Okay. So if you want to make like in fact, let's make a Q-sphere instead, and then we'll just smooth that out. That's way too much. There we go. That should be fine. Okay. So one thing that you could do is make sharp corners. So what I could do is even just using the standard brush, with any of these brushes that you want to be able to make like sharp edges or sharp corners on, come over here to curve, underneath brush, curve, hit AccuCurve, and you'll see like with standard brush, with this turned off, you see it's just nice and kind of smooth and round. But you turn on AccuCurve, and all of a sudden you're getting like this ridge. You just kind of smooth it out, and you get this nice little ridge. This is super nice. Sorry, this is like a little bit. Oh, that's why. It's 'cause I have the dynamic turned on. Okay. So yeah, you take that, you kind of draw that out, and you can kind of smooth it some if you want to. And I guess I had like way more subdivision levels than I wanted. Delete higher. Okay, so yeah, smooth that out, and you get like this nice kind of rounded edge, like a nice sharp rounded edge. It's kind of nice. The other thing you could do is that if you're wanting to use your move brush, you can do the same thing. Move brush, turn on AccuCurve, and you'll see that'll drag out these nice points. So you can use that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And then you can smooth out those transitions or whatever, however you need to go. But yeah, that's that AccuCurve point. That's super helpful, and you can control like how that behaves. So you can see right now it's giving me this kind of swoop. That's all controlled based off of this. So if I control this, you can see now I'm getting this kind of shape. You see it's like half of that. Okay, so yeah, I can make it really sharp. You can see it's got this really super sharp point there. So yeah, really neat little aspect of being able to control that. So yeah, again, underneath the curve, it's this AccuCurve point here. I'm going to want to make sure that's more. Is there a reset? Yeah, reset. Oh, but that's reset back to 0. I don't want it to be 0. That'll be good enough. If I need it later, I'll figure it out. I don't think I'll need it though. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea on that. I'm just going to kind of down res that all the way. Just make that like, I'll make that my demo ball. Because there have been a few things I've every once in a while people will ask about certain little tips and tricks, and so I'll go through and I'll try to highlight little things, and having a little demo ball is helpful. Okay, so we've got this. Let's go ahead back to our hair curve. We'll close that because we don't need it right now. Okay, you know what? Here's something we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to, instead of using this, I'm going to use the topology brush, and I am going to, let me see, let's check out our hair structure. Just turn off dynamic. You know what, let's turn on our lazy mouse because I'm not very good at drawing in a straight line, and lazy mouse helps so much. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do here is I'm wanting to start to block out just kind of a couple of chunks of geometry, and you'll see why here in just a minute. In fact, I might even just leave that as it is for now. I'm gonna pull this out. Something like that. Drag across there. Drag across there. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the forms. And I don't need it to be absolutely perfect. Yeah, that's correct. So Mini does not have, doesn't have most of these features. Getting all these features, everything that I'm doing here, you have to have the full version of ZBrush, because I don't think it even has it in core. But right now, ZBrush, yeah, you gotta buy the full version of ZBrush. But right now they're running a special discount where they've got 10% off. You know, so if you've been looking for kind of a reason to kind of make the jump, or a time to make the jump, I think it's a good time. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kind of drag that down, drag this over. I'm going to drag that over. Boom, boom, boom. Something like that. And that'll be good enough for what I need. I need to make sure that I'm getting all these kind of high points and low points kind of blocked in just with edges going across. We'll get one kind of coming down over here just to be able to hold that form. Yeah, that should be good. And I'm just going up periodically, and maybe we'll put in some intermediate loops in here, you know, just trying to hold shapes. Just trying to create structure, trying to make sure that all of this is as close to that sculpt as I can make it. Cool. Oh, but that end piece didn't quite make it. Let's go ahead and refinish that. Boom and boom. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and draw another stroke down memory lane right here. Just kidding. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, it's 9 o'clock. Okay, this trick is one that I learned from XM Studios. Amazing. If you haven't seen their ZBrush Summit presentation from a few years ago, you need to check it out. It is amazing. Such a phenomenal little trick, and it's super simple. So this is kind of a variation off of that. What they did is they used a special curve brush to be able to create like, you know, general hair forms. This is a similar idea in that we're using, you know, a curve brush and we're getting, you know, general hair forms, but we're going in instead and getting a sheet instead of using a curved tube sort of shape. So yeah, we've got that going on. I'm going to just work on this for right now, this piece. I'm going to lower my draw size to 1, and boom. Good grief. Don't know what's going on. I actually wonder if there's something in the water. Did you guys ever see that movie Tuxedo? I think it was Tuxedo. I've only seen it once, like at a friend's house, but there was the bad guy in the movie that would like dry people out by having them drink water. It's like this special chemical that he put in. Thank you. Thank you, A.T. Alley. All right, so now we've got this piece in here, and what I want to do is I want to solo it out. I want it to be on its own. Control Shift A just to make sure that that's its own thing here. Okay, so now we've got this piece. We have this little piece that we need to bridge together, so we're going to use our Z modeler, insert edge, and we'll say bridge. We don't need any kind of creasing on here, so we'll come over here to our geometry, and we'll say crease and uncrease all. Okay. And then we can just make it all one polygroup. It's great. And then we'll just kind of modify some of the flow here so that it feels a little bit more intentional, a little bit more controlled. And I'm not, let's see. Yeah. I think some of these things we can control after the fact, but I think that with this particular process, having this hair form in its, you know, in as much of its own spot as possible, especially the lines that are running vertically, that's going to save so much headache later on down the road. There we go, kind of bring this over, bring that over. Cool, cool. Yeah, something like that. That'll work. Okay, so for this, I want to go through and add in an extra couple, maybe, of edge loops. So I'm just going to say insert single edge loop. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not going to worry so much that they're, that they're not like perfectly curved out and whatever like that. That's something that'll kind of be modified by hand after we have the curves in here. But now what I want to do is I want to say, I want to crease these edges. So I'm going to, just really quick and simple, I'm just going to use my select lasso, and I'm going to hide every other one, hit Control W so that we have an alternating pattern. And then up here underneath stroke, transform, texture, tool. What am I oh, curve functions, here we go. Turn off border and turn off creased edges. We can just use polygroups. Okay, boom, beautiful. Look at those. Now if we wanted to, we could go through and we could easily add in some extra edge loops, which could be nice actually. So maybe we'll do that before we commit too much to this monstrosity here. In fact, let's do it this way. I kind of like the way that that's going. So let's do that. We'll add in one here manually, and one here manually. Maybe we'll modify this and just kind of push these points around a little bit to fit the flow a little bit better, just a little bit better. Okay, something like that. We'll have this one kind of come out. Kind of just getting some gentle smoothing in here. Okay, now I can just hit the 7, or I can come back up to, or actually no, what I wanted to do first, let's do this first. Control D, delete lower, then we can go ahead and go to stroke, go down to our frame mesh, or hit the 7 hotkey. And there we go, we have our nice curves kind of following this nice smooth path. And if we look at our character, you can see that's fitting nicely on her. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's come back into our hairbrush, grab our strand, and you'll get occasional problems like like this. Like check this out. You can see that. Oh, let me see. It's going well up there. It's going well down here. Control Shift A. You'll see that it's actually going reverse here. And if you come up here to this one, Control Shift A, you'll see we've got some that are going the right way, some that are going the wrong way. So this is where it gets to be kind of a pain, but we'll work it out. So here's what we got to do. Let's go ahead first. Let's boost this up to at least 60-70%, something like that, so we get more height variation with our strands. We'll commit that, and then what I'm going to do is that's definitely not going to be right, having the thick bases down there at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, let's say Control 1 again. Oh, Control 1's a custom hotkey, like we were talking about before. I like hotkeys. I don't do a whole lot of UI arrangements, but in order to set those hotkeys, you can come over here, Control Alt, and then tap on whatever you want to set it to. So for instance, I had Control Alt tap on solo here, and then it'll say set your custom hotkey. You want to leave your cursor over the button, and then you hit your hotkey combo that you want. So super nice. And it's been super helpful to me as I've been able to go ahead and do things like, change my save as to control S, or change my load tool to control O, so that the hotkeys are kind of homogeneous, if you will, with other software packages. Yeah, lots of cool things. I have Control M set to merge down. Uh, Super helpful. Just little things like that. All good things. All good things. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead. Control Shift A. Let's invert. Let's grab. These. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Since we have some down here that are different, let's go ahead and do that. So we've got the green ones that are good to go. Let's grab these pink ones, Control W. Okay, so now we should be able to go boom. Oh, we got these too, that's cool, okay. Oh, that might be, oh, okay, I see what that is. I see what that is. That's just the next segment from the pieces that we've hidden. Cool. Okay, let's make sure that that's all there, and now we have just these strands that are just going in the right direction. So super nice. And what we can say, I want to keep this base too. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide that, bring it in here, modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, so now we've got this. You can see how much of that piece was covered by these particular strands. Not a whole lot, but that's okay. I mean, we'll make do. We'll deal. In the past, some of the things that I've gone through and done is I've taken this base piece, and we can like hide segments and come in and just boom, just kind of push this in. Make it varied, so that it's fitting in that realm of looking a little bit more like hair. Okay, so you get a little bit more variation, and then you can use that base piece. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to focus on not using that base piece. So yeah. Anyway, we'll just get rid of that. Okay, right here, let me see, let's go ahead and do something like this, and then we'll hit 7, and you see it's going through and it's doing the pieces up here too. So maybe what we'll do is we will say, let's say polygroups. Let's just do an auto polygroups. I mean, the nice thing about this, it looks like we have possibly a few extra strands in here that are kind of hidden behind other strands. So what we need to do is we need to just take this and we'll just move it. So I think technically we have the strands. Oh, that's why I've got the AccuCurve on. Dang it, guys, you didn't warn me. No, just kidding. It's not your job. Although I do need to save. I do need to save. So yeah, so that's how I fix it, essentially, to make it go the same direction, is I go through and I get rid of the ones that are going the wrong direction. and really, I mean, there are enough strands, enough chunks going in the right direction that I should be able to just kind of pull those out, arrange them, make them work for me. just need to kind of take this, pull this around, adjust some widths. Oh boy, anybody watching any cool shows lately? Anything that's exciting coming out in the movie theaters for you guys? And no spoilers on Spider-Man, please. That's one I'm super excited for. I'm also excited for the House of Gucci. Oh my gosh. It seems like such a funny film. Lady Gaga and Adam Driver, just such a pair. Let's see. Let's kind of take this in, make it so that it starts off kind of close together. Just kind of move this maybe even all the way over to the side here. Now remember, we do have these pieces that are separate, which is nice. It's super nice to be able to work with these separate little chunks. Okay, can be a little bit intimidating, and it can be a little bit hard to control. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of looking at it from different angles. Let's make this get a little bit thicker here at toward the end, before it tapers out. Okay, something like this. Boom. Then over here we had some curve issues, some curve misalignment. My daughter's so excited. No school, no school. No school for the rest of the year.
Wait. Not year.
Yeah. There won't be any more school until January. December's done. Oh, dude, I'm living those days right now. I've been looking forward to this stream like all week. All month, really, because like I was going to have an opportunity to do it at the beginning of the month, but I had an opportunity to go out with my wife instead, so I was like, I want to do that instead. I want to do that instead. Let's do that. Definitely a good call. It was a good time. Okay, let me see. The kids get the last laugh. Dad, we're off the whole summer. Yeah, absolutely. If only I was French, take off all summer too. Go off on holiday for months at a time. That would be awesome. Yeah, my art director at Netflix, he's currently in France. His wife is French. So that's, you know, he's got kind of a mixture of, in his household, he's got a mixture of, you know, a few different cultures. I mean, he was born and raised in Texas, but he's Chinese, so he's got a little bit of that Chinese, the Chinese traditions to his personal culture. So you mix the Chinese and the Texan, and the California that he, you know, from all the years that he lived here in LA. He's got the French side of it from his wife, you know. So he's got all sorts of fun little things, different personal customs that he has. He's fun. He misses Starbucks. They don't have oops, it's a little bit too much. They don't really have coffee the same way in France, and you know, if you ask the French, the American coffee is like absolute rubbish and it's terrible and whatever. And I guess, you know, I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't have an opinion one way or the other. But yeah. Did I? Okay, I just hit it. That's all. That's all. Okay. So you can see now we're starting to get a little bit more of that that hair, that flowing. On the wrong piece here. Go ahead and kind of pull this out a little bit. Then we can start to shape the other bits here. But you can see how it's starting to really create that hair flow look. It's super neat. I really enjoy this process. Now, something that I'll sometimes do is I'll take the move brush and I'll make it topological. And what that'll do, the difference between a move brush that's topological and the move topological brush is that the move topological brush, oh, you know what? I might actually be thinking about it wrong. It might actually be just the exact same, actually. Yeah, let's see. Just to be able to compare them, let's check it. Auto masking, we can see like topological, range, smooth, okay. But if we were to come over here to move, you see a range of 5 and 5. Okay, so this is going to affect kind of the shape of how it grabs and how the fall off from that topological shape is going to work. I think that if we were to take that range, and it says max infinite, meaning I guess that, you know, it's just going to take whatever's within your brush size or something like that. We'll have to let's experiment with it. It was at 5. Let's see kind of what this does. So you can see like it's taking the brush, it's treating it like a move brush, but it's using just the one piece. Whereas if I were to use the move topological, yeah, it's working the same thing. Okay, we're good. Let's take this back down to 5. All right. Sometimes what I'll do with these base hair is I'll go through and I'll kind of hide it or delete it from time to time just to be able to check it. Yeah, the technique. And let me see if I can send you guys the link, cause that video from XM Studios ZBrush Summit. I share this one all the time because it's so so amazing. I don't need any sound. Not like it matters a whole lot because you guys aren't going to be able to hear it. They talk about all sorts of different things, and they're so good. I gotta find the part. I think it might be further along. Yeah, I think it's actually further back here. It's the part that's talking about Wonder Woman, and they go through and they show how to do her hair. Did I skip it? Did I skip it? Did I miss it? Here we go. Here, so I'll share it from this point. Start at copy. And so, hopefully this will show exactly from the point that I have right here, but it's super amazing. So they'll go through and they'll talk about hair and things like that. It's this little part a little bit further along. So they have like really roughly sculpted hair, and then they have this hair clump brush that they use, and essentially it's just a curve that they just draw out, and and you can like draw over the shape or if you wanted to, but what they did is that frame mesh technique. Oh, how did I do the flower crown? Insert mesh brush. I'll have to show you maybe in a minute. But yeah, they use the frame mesh, and so they're able to get that, all those pieces kind of, with their piece, they're all going the same direction. If you're to use a standard, let me show you. If you were to use a standard brush curve, well, you could use this too, it looks like, probably. Turn off the dynamic mode, solo that out. Oh, that is so big. Why is that so big? Okay, so now we've got this piece on here. We can say split unmasked points. Come down here. We'll just add some edge loops. This is just for experimentation's sake, right? So not really a huge big deal. I'll just use the 3. That's fine. This time we'll go ahead and use crease, and we'll crease these edge loops. So then up here under stroke, under frame mesh, I'm going to change from polygroup to creased edges, and we'll hit frame mesh. Oh, here, let's say geometry, crease, uncrease PG, and then we'll hit 7 again just to be able to get that frame mesh command in there. Okay. Did it do anything? It didn't do anything. Why didn't it do anything? Here, let's say uncrease all. We'll say Control D, maybe a couple times. Delete lower. We'll add a couple of creased edge loops. Just to be able to give it some fun here, make it go more to the edge. Hit 7 to be able to frame mesh. Okay, and it's only getting those creased edges. Okay, and then we'll take our hairbrush, and there we go. Yeah, so that one works even nicer because they're all going in the same direction. So yeah, and that's really kind of the idea, the principle behind that. It's funny because like I forget that we even have this brush. It's kind of a nice one. But then you also have things like the curved tube. The curved tube will work that same way, where everything's going the same direction. I'm not sure why the hand-drawn one didn't. I think it's just because it was topology that I had specifically, you know, that I had specifically created rather than having it be something that was generated through a brush. And so because it's something that I created, it doesn't know which direction the normals are supposed to go, and I think that's what's kind of indicating the the directionality of the brush, um, is like the normal direction, which, you know, for anybody who's not aware of what normals are kind of the direction that the face and that the edge and that the vertex are facing. Um, so, you know, you might think that it's gonna all be the same thing if you're drawing something out, but what'll happen if you're creating your own topology and things like that is that the faces might have, you know, they might all have the Z direction going the same direction, or they might have the Y direction coming out in the positive direction, but then that X direction will be pointing in a completely different random sort of direction, and so it tries to even that out and figure out which way is supposed to be up and down. So that's one of the things to kind of be aware of. Oh, I haven't even dug through these new. It looks like it's an updated model kit brush, which is super cool. I'll have to dig through that sometime. I usually go through and do a clean out and get rid of different brushes that I don't use. Like, you know, Fracture is one that I get rid of. Form Soft, yeah. Fold I haven't used. It looks like it's probably a newer brush. But yeah, there are a lot of different brushes here that I tend to get rid of. Displace and Displace Curve, I've never had a use for them. Not that there isn't a use for them, it's just that I haven't ever had a use for them. Yeah, there are a lot of these that I'll probably go through and kind of clear them out. Some of them I get really kind of sometimes I'll get rid of a brush and I'll be like, why did I do that? No. And yeah, anyway, just kind of funny. So yeah, let's go ahead, let's bring this back up. Okay, so we've got this piece going in here. It's looking kind of nice so far. We do have these other strands, these other chunks that we need to kind of refine. Okay, let's see. Let's grab these two. Oops, I don't want that on topological anymore. Let's turn that off. Okay. So for right here, we can go through and kind of try to push and pull and things like that. Oh, but yeah, to answer your question, Jaén, or is it Jaén? I don't know. How did I do that flower crown? I ended up going through and making one flower crown and then turning it into an IMM, or not one flower crown, one flower, and turning that into an IMM brush, which is super, super helpful for anytime you're doing anything that's super high detail and you want to, let's go through and kind of make this so that this goes over here. Anytime you want to do something that's high detail and highly repetitive, and you don't want to have to actually draw it out a ton, it's insanely helpful. So, for instance, Jaén, okay. Is it Spanish? I mean, I'm just judging based on Herrera and Castañeda. But yeah. Yeah, lots of theory going on today. This is kind of interesting. Get some gentle kind of thickening here. That's pretty cool. I think I'll leave that as it is right now. And then for this piece, I want to take this and kind of make it so that it feels like it's coming out from underneath that piece. Let's grab this and make this so that this is coming out on top. Because I like that overlap right there. I feel like that feels neat. De Colombia. I had some friends from Medellin and from Barranquilla. You know, some good people down that way. It's gonna try to widen these chunks out a little bit through here. I don't wanna like thicken them necessarily. Maybe I do. Let's thicken it a little bit. Okay, there we go. Just kind of take this, kind of pull it off to the side so that it's its own thing there. Yeah, there is a lot of cultural variety, even just from the two places that I mentioned. I mean, they're big cities and lots of people. You get a lot of variation. Yeah, I lived in Chile for a couple of years. Which was awesome. I miss it. I miss it, especially when it comes time for the Fiestas Patrias, right? Because here in LA, like, Chilean culture is very not present. Very not present. At least not that I've been able to find. Go ahead and kind of puff that a little bit. I don't want to do it too much. Maybe not quite as far up either. Let's keep it down here, I guess. I want to try to get a little bit more volume to this section here, just to get some variety. But I also want to make sure that I'm starting to fill in these gaps down here. There are a lot. There's a lot of gap that I need to fill in, and so in order to make this hair feel full and voluminous, I gotta make sure that I'm giving it some good. Oh, good. We got an extra strand in there. That's nice. Let's go ahead and take this over here, maybe. I'll have it be underneath until this later point here. And we'll kind of give it some, oh, that's too much. Give it some inflate here. Let me see. Control Shift to mask everything except what you click on. Yeah, so using the gizmo, just control. You can just control click, and it's going to be based on polygroup. So that's where like polygroups come in extremely handy. I love working with polygroups. It's so nice. Okay, I'm gonna take that, kind of pull that down. One of the things that I'll probably be looking to do at some point is simplifying the shapes. And a lot of that's going to come in when I start to, like when I have like a more complete hair surface. So, you know, I've still got a ways to go, but definitely getting somewhere. Let's go ahead and kind of smooth that a little bit, just a little bit. For that same exercise, what brush is better, custom insert mesh or a curve alpha? Honestly, I was on the beta for that version of ZBrush. I never actually used it. There was the the extrude profile. Is that what you're talking about? Where it's like you literally have like these different alphas that you can use, and then, you know, for instance this one right here, and you can just draw out, get a whole bunch of different hair strands. Is that what you're talking about? You can use kind of any combination of different things. Like for instance, there's this one's pretty cool. Let's kind of make this a little bit bigger. You get like a variation of thicks and thins. The hard thing about this, well, I mean, let's play with the Z intensity a little bit, you know, just to be able to see what we get. See, we get like some layered hair kind of coming in through here, which is, it's cool, it works. But one of the tricky things is, you know, you got to make sure that you have an alpha that's going to suit your hair profile. I haven't made one of those yet. I need to. But yeah, this is it's a good tool. It's a good tool. I just haven't used it yet. You can see, like, if you do your smooth, your dynamic smooth, you get the nice kind of shape there. But yeah, kind of a neat addition. Yeah, it's just not one that I've used yet. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that back, something like that. Boom, 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 boom. So really, it kind of just depends on the end result that you want. For me, I have this brush that I built out that I really enjoy the stylization of the shapes and everything that I built into it. So that's why I tend to hold to this brush so much. Let's go ahead and kind of fix that so that the curve kind of has a nice smooth ending there. Give that a little bit of an indentation, and I guess that's kind of coming out there, so we'll let that happen. Right here we can take this and we can say, bring that in, bring that in, bring that in. And I'm just using a combination of like the Alt move on those points, so to be able to push them in, and trying to look at them from a side angle to be able to, you know, to be able to understand if what I'm doing is enough or not quite enough, be able to gauge the depth. So yeah, kind of neat. I'm gonna split hidden for now. I think that having this be its own separate chunk right now could be a good thing. Okay, let's kind of pull this out just a little bit. And then let's fix these ends so that they're going into her head. You see, where's the, let's turn this off. Okay, so we can see the way that the hair is not quite going into the head at all. So let's go and we'll say Control 1. I'm just going to mask off the end here. Let's kind of soften that just a little bit. And I am going to use a very secret trick. I'm just kidding. It's not a very secret trick. I'm just going to take that and just kind of pull it down. I can center that, kind of pull it over here to the side a little bit, and we'll just kind of shrink it in, make it so that it's a little bit more in the direction that we want here. That looks nice. One of the things that we'll have to do at some point, once we have oh, that's starting to look so good. See, like getting good hair in there, good hair geometry, it makes the whole character feel like she's coming so much more together. Oh man, let me see, it is 10 o'clock. Let me check the schedule really quickly. Because if there's nobody else on the calendar after me. Wait, was Daisuke on here? Okay, so Brendan is scheduled for 1 p.m. So yeah, so we're good. I can go until 11 if I want to. That'll be good. Yeah, so Brendan is another streamer. He's awesome. He does some extremely detailed, awesome work. Ian, good buddy of mine, from core to pro with IR sculpts. I'm not sure what he's working on lately, but he'll be on tomorrow. And then Shane Olson on Monday. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty stinking cool. Shane's a good buddy of mine. He's actually hugely responsible for helping me get into Warner Brothers games. Kind of mentored me some, and then helped recommend me over there at the studio, along with Matt Thorup. So between Shane and Matt, that's how I got started over there. It was really fun. Let me see. Let's turn off the hair. I just kind of want to see, oh, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the hair and let's split off these pieces. Let's say split hidden, and then we can turn off that hair piece. So just so we can get a better feel for what hair chunks we've actually done so far. And right now we can see that this little bit here is kind of going through, and so we'll just pull it out so that it's setting on top of the hair, or we can come over here, which might actually be better. This might be more what I want. Yeah, that feels like that's probably more what I want anyway. So we'll do this. There will be some penetration from the flowers with the hair. That's just kind of a reality of it. Let's take this, turn that off. Okay, so now we're starting to go somewhere with this hair. We're starting to get some of these main shapes in here. We still need to get some of these big chunks here on the back. And one of the things that I've done in the past, if you're at all familiar with, let me save this so that we don't lose it. One of the things I've done in the past, we'll come over here to the portfolio. For instance, like, let's just go into character. Let's get into character. So I've got a couple. We'll look at the mermaid, we'll look at the witch. Okay, we'll come into the witch first. Okay, so you'll probably be able to pick up on this when we look at it. But yeah, I might actually already have a video on the making of the flowers. The flowers are actually something um, that I created for an ArtStation challenge a little while back. In fact, this gal is high time. It's high time I go through and do X-Gen hair for her. But anyway, so the big thing that you'll notice is that I've got like all these. You can see like the hair chunk strands, but then if we kind of zoom in here a little bit, you'll see there's like this main big chunk right through here. And it has some. It's kind of hard to see, but it does have like these ridges kind of built into it so that it looks, um, like it's fitting in with the hair. It's one of the ways that I've gone through to be able to kind of streamline my hair process. Puppy is dancing, needs a walk. Good to hear from you, Leonard. Dude, we need to do lunch sometime. Hope you're doing well, bud. Thanks for dropping in. Um, but yeah, so there's like the main big chunk in there that's kind of helping to fill the space, so that I get the big overall hair shape, and then I have the other strands to kind of support the flow of the hair. Similar sort of idea here, where I've got this big chunk, and then I have these supporting strands, and then I have some. Very Merry Christmas to you. Have fun with your ornaments. I can't wait to see them. Just send me pictures. Um, and then I have like some grooves built into the main chunk to break up the silhouette, to break up the forms, so that it feels like chunks of hair kind of floating through the water. Um, you can kind of see it a little bit here in this as she turns around. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, just finding different ways to be able to make it feel nice and make it feel like a nice flow and nice pieces, but then to kind of simplify your workflow a little bit too. So yeah, for sure. I love this hair. Thank you so much. I want to do this on my model. That's great. Yeah, it's a very fun process. It does take a little bit of time, but just taking the time to do it, it's definitely worthwhile. Um, it's fun. Is that Marmoset? No, that's actually the renderer over here. This is Sketchfab. Um, yeah. I do need to get into Marmoset though. That's one that I want to get into really really badly, but my computer wouldn't be able to handle that. So right now is what I'm going through right now is kind of that process for doing the hair. So it looks kind of ratty right now, but it's eventually it'll feel full and beautiful. Um, yeah. In fact, let's go through. Let's do another section of this. Let's go ahead and let's do. Let's use that curve flat snap that we used before. That was nice. That was nice. Let's kind of drag this out. So again, I think we're gonna probably work in some layers here. So I'll go ahead and I'll make that, and then we'll say split unmasked. Do something like that. Oh, that's funny. Control M is my hotkey that I set up for merging down. Let's actually just take this and we'll move it over. I should have just done split unmasked there too, but whatever. merge that down. So now we've got these 3 different strands here, and we'll play with these first. Okay, I'm going to say let's add a single edge loop to each of these. Okay. Just going to hide half of these, so that way I can come in and start to bring these points down, kind of essentially rounding out the profile of these pieces. So we're going to take this side and we're going to really pull that in because it's definitely not doing quite what I want it to do. So we're definitely going to have some kind of reshaping to do with this particular piece, but that's fine. We'll survive. Hopefully. Just trying to, again, round out the profile, make sure that it's not, just completely intersecting in weird ways. This one I probably will leave kind of intersecting in weird ways because, I mean, we're going to get the hair chunks going in there. And these are going to be some layers. You know what? I want them to be slightly longer. Let's do it. I want it to kind of feel like it's getting about to this length. Okay. And leading from this length. Just to make it feel a little bit more, I guess, natural. Hopefully. We can kind of spread these out too, so that it's not entirely the same thickness, the same width, the same shape going down. Let's kind of pull this out and over. Pull that out. In fact, here's something we'll do. We'll hit double so that we can see both sides of it. Be a little bit easier to deal with, hopefully, right? Hey Chula. Qu'est-ce que tu veux faire aujourd'hui? She's trying to train me in French. So I'm trying to practice. But my French is terrible. I speak like a 2-year-old. But that's okay. That's okay. At least I can ask où sont les toilettes, and I can all sorts of those sorts of things, right? J'ai faim. Oh, j'ai sommeil. What else do I know? J'ai soif. Hey Chris, how you doing, dude? You just told your daughter the school called and they decided to start again Monday, didn't you? No, would that be funny? This is the survival kit in French, so yeah, it's okay. It's very true. That's very true. Où est le café? Où est la boulangerie? All the stuff they teach you in Duolingo. I actually really, really like Duolingo. It's actually a really, really neat tool. I haven't tried it for other languages. I already speak Spanish. Um, but the French, that's pretty stinking cool. And it works really, really well. It's one of those things where it's like you're going through simple exercises and you're going over and over and over these simple exercises, and you're just like, am I learning anything? And then you try to actually hold a conversation, and you can actually pick up on things, and you can actually say things and figure things out for yourself, and it's like, that is awesome, you know. Language is cool. Language is awesome, guys. It's one of those things that I feel really can bridge the world. Is like if people just take some time to learn another language, preferably one that's usable in the area you live in, but yeah, something that's cool, something that's fun to you. You could think about things like like right now I'm learning French. I don't have a whole lot of opportunities to learn French or to use French except with my wife. She speaks French. Or um, if you live here in the LA area, learning Spanish is an awesome thing because there are a ton of Spanish speakers. Or I started trying to dabble in Chinese, but I couldn't get past ni hao, because it's such a challenge to me to kind of wrap my head around the Chinese language. Um, but I live in an area where there's a very heavy Chinese speaking population, and so being able to say something or to understand something, it could be cool. There's every once in a while I'll be out on a walk, and you run into other people and you say hello or whatever. Um, and one of the things, one day I was out on a walk, and there was this old man carrying these big old boards on his shoulder. Didn't speak much English. I was trying to ask if he needed help, and and all he said to me was ni hao, and he waved and he kept walking. I was like, if only I had known how to ask if he needed help. Maybe it would have been maybe he would have gotten the help he needed. I don't know if he needed the help really. Actually, he's probably just fine. But because the dude looked like he was made out of steel. But yeah, whatever. C'est la vie. Así es pues. Yeah, but language is fun. It really does break down barriers. So yeah, learn a language. It's like if anything is going to make the world better, it's people being able to communicate, people being able to um, people being able to connect through communication, through language. It's super cool. It's a simple thing, but it's something that really helps people to feel like you care. Really helps people to feel um, like you want them around, or that you're happy to have the diversity, or things like that. It's a cool thing. I love language. Um, Supposedly, my one of my uncles, who served in the military, speaks like 6 languages or something like that. Um, I don't know if it's true. I've never. I mean, I'm not in close contact with this uncle, um, but that's something that I understand. Uh, that he learned things like Italian or Spanish and French and Arabic and I think a couple of others. And then obviously English. I mean, he's from Mississippi, but just kind of. I feel like language is just nice. It's so nice. It's hard, but it's nice. And it helps you to kind of appreciate other people and their cultures and different things like that too. So yeah, it's just nice. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's just nice. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Let's go ahead and add in some creases. Crease edge partial, please. And since this came from what's it called? From that strand brush that we played with earlier, it should bring out my pieces all in the same direction. Otherwise, there was absolutely no point to me going through and doing. Yeah, so the hair will be drawn onto this series of strands here. In fact, I'm going to give a little bit of a height variation here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, something like that. I'm just going to give it some variation so that it gets a little bit more of an interest. Let's do this one instead. Let's say right here. Let's go ahead and poke this one in a little bit. It's not going to help me much. We can do something like this, and we'll have to see kind of like what this turns out looking like. Let's hit 7 so that it'll stroke all the creases. Let's grab that Smartest hairbrush. Oh, no. I wonder if there's something. 3 variations of Chinese, like Cantonese and Mandarin, and what's how do you get 3? I only know the 2. Wow. Yeah, it's awesome to be able to enjoy movies in different languages. You get the jokes. And there are different jokes that don't translate, different humor, different things that don't translate in dubbing. It's a super sad fact of it all, but it's a fact. Okay, I'm going to do same thing here. Okay, Control Shift A. Yeah, just going to do the same thing that I did on the other section since this obviously didn't work out. Hokkien, Cantonese, Hakka. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I've got a buddy who, I mean, he speaks primarily Japanese. But he watched Squid Game in the native Korean. He picks up on some of it here and there, but he'd rather hear the voices of the original actors than hear the dubbing, because you get a lot better of the emotion of it. Because like if you think about like the way that words are enunciated in Korean or in Chinese or in Japanese, if you try to get that same sort of feel in an English dubbing, it just sounds dumb, it doesn't sound the same. I still enjoyed the show, and I still like you still get a feel for the character and a feel for the moment, but it has a little bit more of a comical sort of feel to it instead of urgent. It feels a little bit more comical. So it's really kind of a, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a shame that let's say delete hidden. Let's say split hidden here. It's so much work. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So the strands don't follow your hypothesis to go in the same direction. No, they didn't. They didn't. I think it's because I had gone through and used ZModeler on it. You know what? I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try something else purely for the sake of science. Let's say curve, tube. Take that Z intensity down something low so that I can get. Oh, and then we'll take the brush depth. Okay, that works. Or maybe we'll take the brush depth down to like -20 or something ish. That works. Okay, so new hypothesis. We are going to say, take that brush, and we're going to say modifiers, say snap. Oh, no, brush, not create. Did it change? Is that the wrong stroke? Curve, snap, there we go. That's better. I was like, I swear it was there. Maybe it's not, and it's not. I was totally just not even. Why isn't it snapping? Snap. Snap, you fiend. Huh. Let's see, change this up to 1. We'll say lock start, lock end. Actually, let's just do the curve tube snap, just because this is kind of a pain. Curve tube snap. See, now it's actually kind of working. Okay, let's turn off the dynamic mode. Again, we're going to take the Z intensity down to somewhere around 30-ish. Yeah, let's actually say, let's do this. We're going to say lock start, lock end, curve step up to 1. We'll go to curve modifiers, we'll say size, and then we'll change this fall off. But I want it to like fall off more gradually. Okay, so we'll do something like that. Something like that. Oh, you know what? Earlier, what we had done is we had taken this. We can hit 5 to be able to snapshot whatever you're doing with the curve. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you run into an issue and you just gotta troubleshoot it. You gotta problem solve, and you know there's no better time than a stream to be able to problem solve that. One, it's being recorded, so I can go back and watch it for myself if I forget what I did. Two, you guys get to benefit from it. So hopefully it's helpful, in the very least, you know. But yeah, so hopefully this will work. So 5 will go through and it'll snapshot that. And so now I can go ahead and take this and move it again, and you can see it left behind the original piece that we drew out. So I'm just gonna kind of put this in place more or less kind of next to this other one. Let's just kind of move that base over a little bit. Okay. And then we'll fix some of the flow things here in a minute, but let's go ahead and say 5. This should work. If it doesn't work, I will be unhappy and no, just kidding. If it doesn't work, things will be fine, but whatever. Oh, I forgot to hit 5. There we go. Let's bring this down over here now. That'll be great. And then we'll have something like this, but I need to shorten this a little bit. Let's go ahead and just kind of, if you grab the curve and then hit shift, that'll kind of smooth it. And so it's going to literally take out it's going to literally take out length from your curve. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so that'll be a little bit nicer. Let me see, is 5 the default, or is that something you set custom? What 5 are we referring to? Just so that I know what you're referring to. Oh yeah, that is the default. That should be default, and you can find that. I'm pretty sure underneath stroke, curve. Maybe not curve. Let me see, functions. Here we go. Functions snapshot, right here. So that's where that's at, and then you got the hotkey of 5. If you wanted to be able to change it to something else, then you can, or if you've already kind of replaced the 5 hotkey with something else, like I know some people do, you can do that too. So you know, figure out your own, whatever works. Okay, I'm just going to draw out. Oh, that's a little bit longer than I wanted, so just grab it and then hold shift and smooth that out some. And then these other, I don't know, we'll figure out what to do with the rest of that direction. I think that's kind of cool having the overlap. And so I want to play with that. I want that to be kind of the focus of these pieces here. Okay, split hidden. Okay, I'm going to turn this on. Let's say Control 1. So we can see what that's doing. Now these are not going to be my actual hair strands. These are going to be a base to be able to create my hair strands. So let's see if my theory works. I should be able to just get rid of these caps. Get rid of the caps on the top too. Geometry, delete hidden. Okay, so now the way that XM Studios did their hair is they had like all the same poly group, and then they'd go through and they'd kind of, you know, hide every other ring, and, you know, do all sorts of things like that. And I don't think that that's totally necessary. What I would do is I would just go in with ZModeler, and I would say crease, edge loop partial, and I would just kind of crease. In fact, we can get rid of, I want to keep the poly groups, that way I can see what it is that I'm doing. And I just want to crease all these longer ones. And it's kind of nice having that ability to hide things just naturally based off of the poly group. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to get at whatever ones like are easier while I'm up here at the top. Some of these edge loops are going to be a little bit harder to hit purely because of the overlap of the different pieces of geometry. So that's something to kind of just keep in mind. It's not you, it's just ZBrush trying to figure out what it is that it's trying to hit at. One thing that you can do with ZModeler that I absolutely love is that you can go in here and you can say, you can tell it to do nothing on the different components. Right now I'm on polygons, which is referring to the faces. Okay, right now my edges are set to crease, edge loop partial, which is why I'm able to get that whole strand. For points, I can do the same thing. I can say do nothing. So that way I should just be able to go in here and just kind of tap on the face, kind of in the closest, like have it so it's pointing toward the edge loop that I want it to crease, and it'll crease that that edge loop, which is awesome. Super, super nice. Makes things so much easier. So let's come down a little ways so we can get more of these edges. Boom. Anything that was hidden while we were overlapped in the top section. And it looks like we might be pretty good. Cool. I don't remember what we have the settings on in our thing up here, but let's go through real quick too and kind of play with the width. Because this is going to be the best opportunity to be able to play with the width and to play with the shapes of the clumps and the hair and everything like that, is before I add in extra geometry to have to control. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out. Just kind of give it a little bit of a smooth. Kind of pull it back out the other direction. It's all about trying to find what works. I don't want to have these clumps be too even, which is why I like to, find different overlaps or find different ways of, varying the widths. If I have everything too uniform and too much the same going down, it feels boring. So this is something where we want to play with the overlap as much as we can in these early stages. Let's go ahead and kind of pull that down and pull that down. Pull this over. Just for the sake of testing it. Yeah, exactly, Doug. Vegas odds currently 30-1. Oh my gosh. You're really stacking the bets against me. You're hedging the bets against me there. Okay. 30-1 that they will. This should work. This should work because this is I didn't do anything extra special to the topology. It was just I did the creasing. So if anything's wrong, I'll cry. And you guys can be here for that. Let's go to stroke, curve function. Okay, creased edges, perfect. Okay, moment of truth. Moment of truth. Oh, beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna cry anyway. Look at that. Look at that. Now I might want to maybe make my brush size a little bit smaller or something, or maybe not. Here, let me see. Let's commit those curves, and there's our hair. There we go. She's done. So the reason I think this worked. Is exactly what I was speculating earlier, was that earlier when I drew out all those strands and did things is because I used ZModeler and modified the topology. With this one, I used something that had existing topology and came with a built-in flow. And so what happened, well, I mean, I deleted the caps, and that's the only thing that I did to change the flow, but it doesn't change the normals. It doesn't change the edges that I wanted to be able to take information from. So that's what I feel like was happening, was that I was getting Oh, now I need to like super change the way that these caps are kind of running into issues up here, but it's working. It's working. Yeah, let's take this. I'm going to, oops, what do we got here? Yeah, let's go over here. We'll just mask that again. Yeah, let's do it this way. And we'll just alt click there to be able to center it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's why I was running into those issues. Is because I was literally trying to create new topology. Because like I know the same thing will happen with nano poly what's it called? Polymesh? Oh shoot, it's in geometry. Micropoly. I was trying to remember because it went through a couple of name changes during the beta when we were originally testing that out. Let's go ahead and kind of scale that down. Oh, that's so much better. Let's go ahead and kind of push this over some. I'll worry about that part, I guess, in a minute. But yeah, super fun. And just, you know, so yeah, that'll be the idea, the process. That's why the XM Studios system worked, is because of the mesh that they used, because of the curved brush mesh that they used to be able to make all that come together. Let's go ahead and take this. Just gonna play with the width a little bit here. Make it fill in some spaces a little bit better. Play with how far out it comes. Yeah, so much better. So much better. And it's got a lot of volume there. I might need to go through and kind of test this against the original and see kind of like what it is that it's up to, what it like how it, I guess how it stacks. Just gonna go through and kind of use a little bit of inflate through here too. My wife must have gone to the library to pick up something. My wife and my daughter just finished reading Charlotte's Web, and so one of the things that we kind of do in our family is that we'll read the book and then we'll go back and we will yeah, go to the teller window. Yeah, get your winnings. But give me my cut. Let me see. Let's use just the regular move brush. I want to try to get this flow to feel like it's uniform and like it feels nice. Let's take this one, move it out a little bit. Yeah, so we read the book and then we watch the movie. So like I've been doing that with the kids this year with Harry Potter, um, and that's been a ton of fun. In fact, I probably need to go ahead and um, do some Harry Potter fan art in the coming year. um, but yeah, I love Harry Potter. Harry Potter is one of my favorite fandoms. Um, and so to get to share that with the kids, it's awesome. It's so awesome. It's usually something that we'll read at nighttime as we're doing bath time and wind down activities. So that there's something quiet ish. I'm not very quiet. But just something fun just before bedtime, and they seem to enjoy that most nights. Okay, so in here, there will probably be an opportunity for me to go ahead and delete some of this hair. Some of this is not going to be quite what I want. In fact, let's get a little bit better curve out of this. Let's separate this strand out here just a little bit. In fact, let's go ahead. Oh, not that one. I want this one. There we go. I'm just going to smooth it down some so that it's thinner. Okay, there will be an opportunity to possibly go through and actually delete some of these pieces, just because we won't need all of them. But yeah, we'll have to see as we go along, kind of how we decide to treat this. If I were to 3D print this hair, I would, quite honestly, I would. That's a good question. I would probably Dynamesh it, and then have to go through kind of like a Dynamesh and inflate sort of process. Make sure that I've got all these pieces out of the way here. Let's go to subtools. We'll say split. What's this piece? This piece is something I can get rid of. So let's say delete. Use our little up arrow. That's one of the nice things too. Up arrow and down arrow lets you kind of switch between subtools in your list. I love doing that. It's so helpful. Okay, so we don't need this to be visible anymore. We just go up. But I do want to keep it just in case. I mean, for like, instance right now. Maybe we can go ahead and say Control-Shift-D just to be able to have it open. I'm going to grab this, say geometry, delete hidden. I'm going to take this piece and shift it over so that it's filling in this this back area. Let's go ahead and kind of inflate. Okay, so you can see that's kind of filling in that space now. Let's kind of inflate this bottom space too. So we get some of this going in over here, and then I can go ahead and I can use this to be able to finish it out and get this under layer of hair so that she's more finished. Now, I mean, there's still a ton of work that I need to do, but this will be kind of the last thing that I do today. If it's the last thing I do. Let's go ahead and hide that. Say delete hidden. Just so that our little hair strands aren't longer than they need to be. Sometimes it creates just a little bit too much of, just too much geometry to deal with. Too big of pieces. That's another one that I set a hotkey for, is the transparency. This transparent thing, I set Control T for a hotkey. Super helpful. Super helpful. In fact, I need to go through and do a little scripting in Maya to make sure that I can get that same functionality with the X-ray view or whatever it's called. Because I use that functionality so much, especially in ZBrush. Not so much in Maya, but it is such a helpful thing to me to be able to go through and let's say pinch, to be able to go through and look through what it is I'm looking through, right? Did anybody respond to favorite shows that you're watching right now? I don't think I remember seeing anything pop up in the chat. Is anybody watching any shows that you're excited about? We had a good conversation about languages. We had a good conversation about hedging our bets against against the new technique. What movies or shows are you guys watching that you're excited about? The Witcher. Yeah, The Witcher's fun. I haven't seen season 2 yet. I'm excited about it though. One of the things that was kind of hard for me though with Witcher, I mean, it was fun, the action was fun, the design was awesome, so cool. One of the things that was hard for me is that the timeline, it felt like it didn't flow in a very linear sort of way. Like, I don't know, I was always that's something that I've always kind of struggled with. Like the movie Contagion. Yeah, since we're living in a pandemic, we might as well talk about Contagion. Contagion was kind of a tricky one for me because of how the nonlinear time flow was. You know, it was just, I don't know. I feel like it's so much harder to follow a story when it's not linear. And I feel like I had a lot of the same struggles with The Witcher. Is that it just felt like it was like I couldn't tell when things were happening in relation to other things. You know, so it was kind of a tricky thing for me, but still cool, right? So right over here, I'm going to want to try to break out my strands a little bit. we're getting a little bit too much overlap, and things are following the same exact pattern. And so I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. I'm trying to create a cool and appealing flow, different things like that. Let's do something like that. I kind of want to create this break in the curve where it's like it's got this. Maybe it's a bit too much, but it's got like a little bit of a break where it's like got the curve and then it changes direction and goes down the other direction. Let's do something like that. That's actually going down a little bit too much. And actually, if we get it to go the same direction as this part right here, I think that would be really, really beneficial to us. So let's do this. Let's turn off the pudding cup. Rice pudding, spoon, cup. Okay. Let's take this and kind of fill in this area over here. Control T, let's get that transparency back on. Oh boy, guys. Oh boy, guys. Oh boy. So now we gotta kind of line up that mark so that it gets more of like a continued line. And that'll feel much more designed, much more controlled, much more intentional. And that's a big part of what we want to do when we're designing characters, especially in 3D. In 2D, you can cheat it and you can get away with all sorts of murder, but going through and controlling it in 3D, definitely a little bit more difficult to do, but so helpful. Let's go through, kind of pull that out. Finish the maid. That was a good one. I didn't see the whole thing. My wife watched it. She really liked it. Waiting to see The Matrix 4. I was seeing waiting to see Matrix 4 6 days from now. And then I saw the next comment. The creature design was amazing. I was like, there are creatures in the Matrix? It was just kind of surprising to me. I was just thinking red pill, blue pill, and that's all I've got, in my head about Matrix right now. Take the red pill. The creature design, I'm guessing, from the Matrix. Can you model a smartphone? I can, and I have, actually. If you check out my personal stream, my personal channel, I'll link you over to it. There was a Rice Krispie treats. Oh my gosh, with ramen. It's so gross. Let me see if I can find the stream. But I did for the ZBrush Summit. Here we go. It's this one right here. Oh, I thought it had. Let me see. Share, copy. I've got this character, and at some point, I go through and I model her smartphone. some point in here toward the end. I mean, I just I think I goofed off most of the time while I was on the um, while I was on the stream. So it's like, yeah, there's my little smartphone, but it's a super simple thing. I mean, it's not very complicated at all. But yeah, I'll go ahead and send you that link. Um, yeah, not very complicated. It's super simple, but it was fun. Yeah, we reached 100 messages. And again, this is kind of where I originally learned this technique for the hair. It just blew my mind. It was so simple. Because before, what I had done was just going through and literally just drawing out my strands of hair, and it works, but it's definitely not as simple as oh, you know what? Let's say let's take these three right here. Kind of like where they're at, but I feel like it's just too much gap. So I'm just going to kind of bring it in. And then the other thing I want to check for, we can, I guess I'll leave that there for now, that's fine. The other thing I want to check for, you can see like how much this is, like how far away this is from the arm. I feel like gravity would be pulling this down around a little bit better. So let's actually take this. I'm going to use my my transpose line. I'm going to hold Alt and use that end to be able to really pull that together, and the middle one too. But what that does is it gives it a nice little bend, and it's just a nice way. Let me see. I'm going to have to think about that question there, no plastic. Let me see. Doug, incredibly amazing method. Thank you for sharing it and your new Vegas method. Yeah, new Vegas. Just roll the dice. What is the most favorite 2022 feature that instantly merged into your second nature? I don't know that I have anything that really merged into my second nature. I do know that there are things that I absolutely love, and that I wish that for instance, corporate licenses, they always update so much slower than personal licenses, because corporate licenses cost money, and ZBrush traditionally is a free upgrade for individual license users. So it's been awesome. So I don't get as much opportunity to use the newer features as I'd like to. I don't get to do as much personal work, as I have a lot of time that I have to spend doing work. So that's why I take time to stream, is because I get time to be able to actually do things for me. But let's see, Control T just to be able to kind of pull on that some. But yeah, so that's so things that I've really super enjoyed. I like the new knife tool. I haven't used it as much. Well, I mean, we can't speculate on licensing fees and things like that at this point. So it's not something that we can say that upgrades will no longer be free, because it's not something that they've been able to say whether they can or can't offer that anymore. It'd be amazing if that's something that that they do keep with the merge, but yeah, that's something that we definitely can't speculate on a whole lot. Or I guess that we can only speculate on is probably more. or how we should say that, how we should phrase that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's something that I'll say cautiously optimistic. Um, I'm excited about it because of the development that the developmental opportunities that'll come from it because of the different tools that are available through Maxon as a company. Um, but I mean, as with most things that are kind of ahead of you in the dark, you kind of have to tiptoe your way forward and just wait until you can actually see what's going on to be able to make a real judgment on it. And I trust Pixologic because of how they've trusted me and how they've incorporated me into their family. So it's really really kind of a neat company to be involved with. I trust them in the way that they are looking out for their user base. I trust them in the way that they have built this community. They're looking out for this community, and I feel like that we'll get some real benefit out of this merge. Um, so yeah, definitely not jumping ahead to making any kind of rash judgments on it from that standpoint. Any advice for beginners in sculpting in ZBrush? Mileage. That is probably the best advice that I could give anybody. Is just put some time into it. Um, One of my favorite things when I first started teaching, I had like hours with my students in a classroom, and what I would do is I would start off with like a quick 30-minute speed sculpt with them every day of class, and it was an awesome opportunity for them to be able to try out new things, new techniques, try different challenges in class, things like that, where they would be able to test out things that we've been talking about, or they'd be able to limit themselves to one brush and really learn a specific tool, whatever it is. And I saw those students grow so much. I was trying to do something like that at Noman, and I mean, the students liked it. The students enjoyed it and felt like it was fun. But then my boss told me, maybe not. Maybe don't do that. Not here. So I was like, okay. Okay. But yeah, so mileage, doing exercises, and draw this in your style challenges are amazing because it gives you the opportunity to really explore and push and figure things out. Or other type challenges. So yeah, I would super recommend doing different drawing challenges or different design challenges and things like that. So helpful. Um, the other thing that's helpful is find a project that you'd like to do, and then um, just from start to finish, just do it. I see XDG saying recommendations for any artist or mentorship. You could find like a course that you're interested in, and then just take that course and finish it through and use that as your guide to be able to learn. um, Thanks, Manuel. Hopefully that was helpful. I didn't take the time to find reference, so it wasn't as amazing as it could have been, I think. But get the ideas, right? Kind of fun. So that's kind of the idea that you want to go for with that. Is you wanna find projects that you can take from beginning to end, and then or challenges, or things like that. Mileage, really being able to allow yourself to just dig in. um, never said Nickelodeon, so I was like, Nickelodeon. Let's go ahead and kind of modify this flow just a little bit. Cool. Okay, so let's go over here to this back piece and let's stroke it. $10,000 hours equals muscle memory. Have you been in a situation where you skip muscle memory and not able to remember things until you give it muscle memory another component? You know, that's a good question. Well, I mean, there are things with muscle memory that are like keyboard shortcuts or processes. Where it's like anytime I import a new brush or things like that, I have to go through and kind of reset my my keyboard shortcuts for those brushes. For instance, my brush S to be able to get my to my S brushes, and then A for my hair brush. Anytime I bring in another brush, especially if it has like an S letter at the beginning of it, it'll totally mess up that, that keyboard shortcut for me. It drives me nuts. But, you know, it is what it is. And so you just gotta go through and reset it. So far as things where I feel like I've had muscle memory, you know, I don't know. I don't know. That's a really tricky question. That's a really tricky question. I'm just trying to go through real quick and pull out some hair strands that that I can kind of pull forward a little bit more to fill in this space back here. Pull that forward a little bit. Right now I'm trying to just fill in this gap back here, and a lot of that's going to be fillable with just hair that I've already made. I don't have to make any extra hair for this particular bit, but I definitely need to have some more variation, like just the way that you see how it's kind of creating a little bit more of a, yeah, like the pieces are too uniform. Let's go ahead and kind of just pull this out. Let's do something similar with like another piece over here. Grab this and just kind of pull it up some. Yeah, no, that's a good question though. That'll take some thought for me though to really be able to to figure out. my answer for it.
Oh, Mom, the horrible part's happening.
Let's go ahead and kind of smooth that out. I just kind of duplicated it out. It's easy enough when you have something masked and you hold control and use your gizmo or your transpose line to move something. It duplicates that particular piece to the same subtool, so it's super nice. It's a really great way to it's a really simple, nice way to get just more of the same on a particular subtool. Really like it. It's starting to work out nicely. Okay, I'm going to want to add in some thinner strands up kind of like by here, kind of by her eye. This particular area is very chunky. Okay, there's some big chunks in there, and I need to be able to see a little bit more. It's a trap. Oh no, I feel like I'm lost. The craziest thing I did this year is purchase ZBrush license with almost zero experience and start learning from scratch. My favorite software instantly. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can hardly believe... I can hardly wait to be famous. I can hardly wait to click that. I'll remember you guys when I'm famous, I swear. It's a trap. Yes, it is. I usually try to delete those. I don't know that they actually delete, though. It's so funny when they pop up. It's such a pain because... Yeah, whatever. I'll just... It's just a pain. It's just a nuisance. That's all. But scam artists gotta make a dough too. Gotta make some money. Gotta pay for the bills. Gotta pay the bills. Gotta pay them bills. What if there was a scam artist that was actually going through and getting everybody's bills paid? Whoa! Oh man, thanks, Emmanuel. Yeah, the ZBrush Summit sale was a pretty good one if I remember right. Let's see, let's go ahead and move this. Let's kind of make this a little bit more uniform with the with this other bend of hair. Something like that. Something like that. That's working out pretty well. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take... What do we have up in here? We have just a few pieces. Let's actually take something from here because we have a ton of pieces back here that we're not going to use. Case in point, this piece that I can't even see yet. Look at that. Okay, I just got to bring this over here so that I can see it and kind of break up the flow of the hair inside. Okay, and then if I want to, and I do, I'll just, oh, that's not what I wanted. W. Did I duplicate that strand of hair? No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. Control, click and drag. Yeah, I mean, one of the best things that anybody could do is go through and kind of watch live streams not necessarily just from Pixologic, because there are a ton of really cool streamers out there that do some amazing things with ZBrush or with whatever other software package you're wanting to learn. And it's amazing. Like, so one of my favorites to follow lately has been Jonas Hill, who's on YouTube. He just released this series that I absolutely loved, which was what was he used? XGen, talking about XGen, because that's something that I'm wanting to get into. But yeah, this guy, you know what? Let's go to let's look at him through the YouTubes, because he was recent, right? Pretty recent. Recent-ish. Recent somewhere, maybe. Recent. Jonah, where are you? There he is. Oh, custom ZBrush UI. That's not the one I was looking for, but yeah, this is his channel, and he is super good. I love his stuff. So YouTube, it seemed like earlier you guys were having troubles receiving the links. It looks like it went through, so hopefully you're getting it. But yeah, how dare you pay my bills? Pay my automobiles. Paul said, "You have that calming voice during this song." Yeah, that was so funny. That was so funny, and it's funny because during that particular video, it was either early in the morning or late at night. I can't remember which, but everybody in the house was asleep, and I was the only one awake. So I was just like, "Welcome to ZBrush Summit. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm just trying to be all quiet and show my techniques." But there wasn't much emotion in my voice or in my face, and so I looked like I was dead. It was it was so wild. It was so funny. Do you have your own license of Maya, or does Netflix? So I have my work computer that has my Netflix license, and right now I'm working on my personal computer, and I have an educational license of Maya on this one, that I use to be able to teach classes and things like that, personal projects. I wish I could afford a professional version of Maya. It's expensive. Love watching time lapses too. They're so good. Did something on skin a few weeks back. Yeah. How to texturing skin and things like that. And then you can see like how he sculpts the skin and things, the details inside of ZBrush. I don't know if he bakes out his textures from ZBrush. I like to bake my textures from ZBrush. But he might have gone through and baked in some other software. But yeah, amazing. He's a great artist to follow. And he's got some really fun, entertaining videos that are just incredibly helpful. Okay, so for these, I like how it looks, but I want to unify it a little bit better with the rest of the hair. So we're going to take this, move this up, move this over. Here, let's go ahead and mask that out. Yeah. So yeah, go follow Jonah and tell him I sent you. He won't care because I don't think he knows who I am. But you know, this is gonna just really great channel to follow. Say, hey, Stephen the Smartest sent me. I wonder what his reaction would be like. Oh, who? You know? Oh, you know what? Here's something interesting. I want to try duplicate this out. Gonna move that to the other side. Move this up to top. And then I'm going to smooth. Just get like a really nice thin strand to accompany this one, just so that it's not just this simple little chunker that's kind of coming down by itself. I want it to have a little bit more detail, since this is the kind of a focal point on the character. You're right next to her face, you know? Go ahead and kind of smooth that out. Yeah, we'll have it come from over here, sure. That works. So that comes down over and under. The way, like, getting this sort of overlap, it's really, really fun, and it's super helpful, and it creates some good, just some good appeal, you know, and that's something that we're looking for sure. So we'll keep those kind of together, but let's grab this, make sure we have the whole thing, not poly paint, poly groups, auto groups. Okay, let's grab one of these, and we'll just smooth that in. We can kind of change like how they line up and everything like that too, just a little bit, just to add some like natural variance. But in fact, we're going to want to take this so that it comes back a little bit further too. Being shorter, it just feels a little bit better if it's just a little bit further back. Like maybe it can break the silhouette, but back here a little bit smaller, more small. Get them more small. Oh, there was this group for work the other day. They had kind of a special treat, you know. They took, I don't want to do the top part though. Good gravy. Okay. So let's go ahead and take this and just kind of bend it out a little bit. I think that that's kind of cool. And then we'll grab this, and then we'll boom and boom, just kind of bend it out the other way. Just adds a little bit more interest here and there. Okay, something like that. There we go. Okay, cool. So now here is what we're going to do. I'm not going to finish the hair because we've already been going kind of a little bit over time for what I wanted to do. But let's go up to hair. We'll color pick from there. You can see like there's quite a bit of a difference in shape. But this is where I'm going to need to kind of art direct my hair and my hair flow from the new place, from the new spot where it's at. You can see I'm losing some volume here, and I want to retain some of that, so I'll have to, you know, play with that and pull some of this over, which, you know, does a lot to improve that shape. And yeah, I like that. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start filling. We will start filling these pieces. Color, fill object. Color, fill object. That way we have the whole thing. color fill object, color please fill object, color fill object. Okay, now I should be able to change my color and everything, my material, all that. Looks like it's good. I'm going to kind of play with this a little bit, just because I like the contrast in the curves and how this is kind of coming together. I think it's just a matter of making sure that the flow feels appealing. Okay, and so far so good. I mean, this is pretty nice. Okay, not bad for a single stream effort here. Am I going to be part of the multi-stream? I am. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I'm not sure who all is part of that though. I haven't looked at the schedule and I haven't seen like a list of who's signed up. So yeah, I'll have to wait to find out who's part of that. But it's yeah, just a fun little opportunity for those of you who have been around for the other group streams. I've done kind of a two-part project, if you will. The first one was a Santa Claus, like a little Santa Claus eating a cookie, which was super fun. Had a glass of milk and all sorts of stuff. It was fun. It was really, really fun. The second part was doing his Mrs. Claus, giving him you know what, let's just go through and say auto groups for everything there. So that was a lot of fun, being able to go ahead and make the Mrs. Claus, and you can see I guess not the whole process for the Mrs. Claus, but I do have the like a time lapse of sorts on my Instagram if you're interested in seeing that for the for Santa Claus. So yeah, fun stuff. Let's actually take this so that it's going to the outside here. This hair in particular, this section of hair feels like it needs some more resolution to it, so I might not be able to get this to be quite the feel that I need, specifically like the horizontal edges going down. So I'll have to play with that and kind of see where it is that I take it and how it is that I can get it to be. But I think I'm ready to start merging down some of these groups. Oh yeah, this is like an old hair group. I'll keep that hidden for now. Let's come down here. This one. And this one, sure. Control M. Okay. And then what's this one? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll keep this too. But we're gonna put this up. Okay. So now that I've got these two pieces together, let's go ahead. What's this one? Where is this one at? It's way up there. Merge down. Okay. Okay, that's what I want. That's what we want. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Trying to remember now what it was that I was trying to. Oh, that's right. It's taking this and kind of modifying this flow just a little bit. Just because it felt a little bit too stiff, and I don't want hair to feel stiff. Let's kind of make this bigger. Let's pull this over some. Maybe make this part of the big chunk to some degree anyway. And then have that little break right there, because that feels cool. It's not quite enough though. Let's see. Let's take this, pull it over. Pull over. You'll never get me alive, coppers. There we go. And then kind of pushing this little crease right here to going out and then coming in. Things like that can be really cool sometimes too. So I try to look out for those sorts of opportunities sometimes. Let me see. How long do you usually spend on hair on your sculpts? It depends. And for instance, this hair, it's not going to be the final state. This is just going to be kind of a guide for me. Well, I mean, it will be kind of a final state. It'll be kind of a final state of having hair that's 3D printable. At some point, there will be some inflating that I'll have to do to make it so that it's stable enough for that. But this is hair that's good and ready for render. So yeah, it's really nice from that standpoint. But then I'll also use it as a guide for XGen when I go through and do that. I'm hoping to be able to go through and make a video tutorial on that for the YouTubes. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing that, be on the lookout. youtube.com/smartist. And you can see how you spell smartest just right here, just down here next to my lovely face. A little bit higher. Oh, there we go. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, now that I've gone way over my time, which is fine. I mean, Brendan doesn't start for another hour, so I'm not cutting into anybody else's time. It's just, it's a holiday season and I want to go and have vacation. So I'm going to go and do so. Still lots to do to make this so that it feels natural, like going through and kind of breaking up some of these hair strands so that they're not all perfectly parallel, so that we get something that's more organic and flowy, kind of like this on the back. But, that's pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Go ahead and turn on the dynamic subdivision so that we can see what it looks like, nice and smooth and pretty. And we'll turn our pudding cup back on. There we go. Steven does have 4 hair appointments open. You are usually in his hairdresser's chair 4 to 6 hours. Be prepared to tip him well. Getting all sorts of crazy references from me today, Doug. Vegas, and then hairdresser. Yep. Because that's how we do. That's how we do the do. But yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out with us today, guys. It's so much fun, and I super enjoy being able to play and have fun and talk to you guys while I'm doing it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and yeah, the hope is to kind of make this feel kind of arcane. Yeah, happily I joke. Yeah, I always joke along. um, make it feel kind of like arcane. That's kind of one of my favorite style references lately. It's amazing. And so you'll notice I kind of went through and tried to do some sort of painterly treatment to the face. It's not nearly as obvious as it needs to be yet. So I'll play around with that or whatever. But yeah, got lots of stuff to play around with. Lots of stuff to play around with, and I'm so excited. I hope it goes well. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you the next time I see you. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday. I forget what time. Gosh, I'm going to have to check. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time, to be able to hang out for that multi-stream. There will be a bunch of different streamers during that time. Can't tell you enough how much I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. And I think no, the theme's going to be a surprise. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to be that Tom Holland guy. Love Tom Holland, by the way. He's one of my he's my all-time favorite Spider-Man. He's great. Anyway, fun stuff. I'll see you guys around. Hope you guys have a great day. Happy holidays. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Smartest out.